And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Wooolf. Now this is a game that when you look at it, you go, is it like Werewolf, which is a very popular card game? And the answer is kind of, sort of, but it's more of a deduction game, while Werewolf is a deduction / psychological game. Wolf is a game that plays up to 8 people. The lower number is 4. Let's take a look at the mechanisms of the game, and then I'll tell you what I think. At the beginning of the game, players are given a spinner of their color, and this shows the different possible roles you can be: the werewolf, the boy who cried wolf, the hunter, a dog, or a sheep. You'll also get a bunch of counters that match your color. So let's say I'm 1 and I have the blue counters with me. Then each player is going to be draw from this deck, and they're going to get 2 cards given to them. Now this deck is basically formed based on this card here and the number of different types of cards. Like, for example, if all 8 people are playing, you'd put 2 werewolf cards in the deck, etc., etc. So you draw 2 cards, and this shows me what I am. Now, I draw 2 cards. If they're 2 different animals, then I am the higher number. So here I am a dog. So you can see the only way to be a sheep is if you have 2 sheep. And there's different cards, and it doesn't really matter what's in the corner. If it shows a question mark in the corner, that's still the boy who cried wolf. Unless, of course, you're paired up with the werewolf, in which case you're a werewolf. So everyone has a secret role that they are. Everyone also will get 2 cards from this question deck here, and I'll talk about that in a second. Then one player chooses to go first. Now, on your turn, you have 2 different options. You can take a look at one of the 2 cards in front of somebody. So I can look at the card, and I say, okay. And then I will place a token in front of you of my own color to show what I just saw. So if I saw a dog, I put this in front of you and say, you're the dog. But what I'm doing here is I'm looking at this top picture here. Now, if you're playing the basic game, there are some of the pictures that have a question mark. When that happens, I would put a question mark token in front of you and say, I don't know what the person is. If you're playing the advanced game, the one I recommend, there are 4 characters who this is a dog but looks like a wolf, boy looks like a hunter, hunter looks like a sheep, sheep looks like a dog. You have to say what you see in the upper hand corner. Unless you are the boy who cried wolf, if that's you, then you always place a wolf token in front of somebody. So anyhow, that's one of the 2 things you can do. And the person, once you look at their card, they're allowed to shuffle their cards up if they want. So if you look at their card again, it might be a different card. Or you can hand someone one of your question cards. When you do, they will put the question card in front of them so everyone can see it, answering it yes or flipping it around saying no. This question says, is one of your 2 cards a sheep card? The other question cards, like, is one of your 2 cards a dog card? Are you one of these 3 roles? Or is one of your cards a hunter card? So they're either going to ask you if you're one of 3 different roles or if one of your 2 cards is a specific card. Another thing you can do on your turn is you can make an accusation. You can't do it the first round, but starting with the second round, you can make an early accusation. So the way this works is, let's say here I am, I'm the dog, right? So I'm looking for the werewolf and the hunter, and I think player number 1 is the werewolf, and I think player number 4 is the hunter. So I look here, and so I point this at 1, because this column is the werewolf column, and the hunter is the double arrows, and so I think it's number 4, so I'll turn that to 4. If I think nobody is a specific type, which is quite possible, I would put it there. Once a certain number of people have done these earlier accusations, once you do it, you can't take any more actions, although you still have to answer people's questions, and people can still look at your cards. Once it happens, then everybody makes an accusation. They flip them over, and you're going to get points if you are correct in your accusations. So you'll get points, and there's point tokens included in the game for correct accusations. And if you are incorrect, you will get one of these X's. You'll get a red X if you're incorrect and you made an early accusation. That goes to show you that next round, you can't make an accusation at all. You play this for 3 rounds. At the end of 3 rounds, the player who has the most points is the winner. If there's a tie, whoever has the fewest of the error tokens is the winner of the game. This is a very interesting game, but I want to say, first of all, you have to play the advanced version. Throw out the question marks, throw these in. These make the game a lot more fun. You'll sit there and someone will say, that person's a wolf. Okay, well, that leaves me with 3 options right now. 1, that person is a wolf. Or 2, the person who looked at the thing and said they are a wolf is the boy who cried wolf. Or 3, they looked at a card that has a wolf icon on it, but it's really not of the wolf. And you can't give that information up. You just have to say the truth. But you can sit there and discuss and say, I don't know. Because there's not a lot of discussion in this game. And I'll tell you why. Because you really don't have anyone on your team. You are trying to use the questions. You are trying to use the cards that are looked at to help you out. Because you want to be the person to pinpoint both of your people. And it's really entertaining because you're not, as a wolf, you're looking for that sheep and you're thinking, where are the sheep? Are there even any sheep here? It's really interesting, and I like the back and forth. This isn't a game I think that elicits tons of laughter, although I think it does elicit laughter when you're done playing and people look around, you're the sheep. No one asked you a question, because that's going to happen, and it plays better. Definitely plays better with bigger groups of people because there's a lot of different things. You're looking all around. You're looking at each person, seeing if their eyes kind of give them away. What are they looking for? Who did they ask a question to? Who are they hunting down? If they're hunting down sheep, maybe they're a wolf. If they're hunting down a wolf, maybe they're the hunter. And so there's this back and forth. It's basically a multiplayer deduction game. But for once, I'm not trying to outrace everybody else. I'm trying to use questions. Now, this isn't a very deep game. There's only so many options that are available for each question that's asked or for each card that's looked at. But there offers enough. And like I said in the advanced game, enough. And the basic game is a little too blasé, a little too boring there. I think the artwork is fantastic. The components are okay. These are really thin boards with these spinning dials, but they work, and the tokens are they're generic, but it works. And I like the fact that it goes up to 8 players. This is not a werewolf replacement. This is not a resistance replacement. Those games are in a different category where you have people stand up and scream. This is more of a deduction game with a little bit of laughter included. It reminds me of classic games such as Sleuth, in a sense, where you're just trying to figure out who is the bad guy. And instead of looking at their eyes for that to betray them, you're kind of going more by the different things that are asked. And by deduction, if that person's the wolf, there's only one wolf involved in this scenario, so therefore that person can't be a wolf, etc. Very fun, very interesting, and easy to play and teach. That's Wooolf!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Yeah?